All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Easy Money, a sports betting show, Friday, October 28th, 2022. So we've got a pretty big show today. We're talking NBA tonight, World Series starting tonight, college, couple college football games tonight, plus we'll go through college football for Saturday and NFL on Sunday. So we're joined by always, that real quick. World Series starts tonight. I've been waiting on that all week. I still don't understand why they took a whole week off. Don't make a whole lot of sense to me.
The thing that surprises me that I seen the Pacers are going to be on national TV tonight.
Yep.
Of course, they have to go up against the World Series. They're going to be on ESPN, I believe.
Yeah, they're on ESPN against the Wizards.
They don't give very many national games anymore.
Yeah, they're on ESPN against the Wizards.
They don't give very many national games. So
yeah, they're on ESPN against the Wizards. Okay, there we go. That sounds better. Yeah, the Wizards barely beat them the first game of the season.
they got to get some defense, man.
Well, remember that night when they were getting killed by the Bulls? They came back and got within like 6-7 points in that game.
Yeah, but still,
But yeah,
just give up too many points.
They gave up 70 points in the first half. You can't give up 70, but then they only gave up like 40 in the second half. Well, you know what I mean? You got played in the first half.
Let's keep them under 100.
Yeah.
And if they keep teams to 100 or less, they're going to beat them because they can score. But you can't give up. You score 120 and give up 130.
Even if you give up 105.
Yeah. If they can give up an average, giving up 105, they'll be there. They'll be right there.
No, I agree. Picks for yesterday, I went 4-2. I had the Ravens on the money line last night in NFL. That was right. Had Grizzlies -3, Warriors -6, and Mavs -2.5 in NBA. All three of them hit. But both my picks in college football last night, Utah won the game, but they only won by like 4 points, so they didn't cover the -7. And Louisiana Lafayette got beat in that game.
Yeah.
So I went 4-2 on my picks yesterday. So I had a pretty good day. NBA, the last 2 days in NBA, I 6-1 in the last 2 days in NBA.
I was terrible on the college. I don't think I got any of the three right. And then on the NHL parlay, I thought I had it won. Buffalo was ahead of Minnesota. Money line won. Oilers had their money line. They won easily. Montreal come back at the end in the last 10 minutes or so and scored 2 goals. And I think ended up winning. I think it was 5-4. Some 4-3 or 5-4. Or the Sabres would have covered, and that would have been good. But I was 2 for 3 on my hockey.
I figure we'll start out with baseball since that we'll have that coming up, and then it's only one game, and then we'll go into NBA, and then we'll do college football and NFL. But baseball tonight, got the Phillies at the Astros game 1 of the World Series. The Astros are 1.5 run favorites, -168 on the money line. Phillies are +142 on the money line. Over under is at 6.5. This game is in Houston. I believe that it's raining in Houston, so they'll have the roof closed. I don't think that makes a big difference. Only difference that I think I know Jay was talking about sometimes that roof can, when the roof's open, the wind. I think what I worry about more with and you play on them inside baseball stadiums is losing a fly ball.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see guys lose fly balls that get up there get up there toward the roof. Other than that, I don't think it's really a big deal that it's inside. And I think you see that more at some of the old domes, the older domes than what you do with the like the retractable roofs like that. I don't know if it's because of maybe the way the domes were shaped, or it might just be the color of the roof too. If the color is white and you have a white baseball up there, it could be hard to see. You got Nola pitching for the Phillies, Verlander for the Astros. The Phillies and Astros only played one series against each other during the regular season, and it was actually the last series of the regular season. It's kind of funny because the Phillies is the last team that the Astros have lost to, because they've not lost in the playoffs.
Yep.
In that series, the Astros won the series 2-1. One game was a blowout. It was like 10-3. The other game was like 3-2 or 3-1 and like 3-0. So the other two games were close. And the game that they won was the game Nola pitched, but he didn't pitch against Verlander either.
Yeah, but Nola also had a no-hitter in that game. For like 6.5 innings.
Well, he had a perfect game going into the seventh
inning. Yeah. So, I'll tell you what, I picked.
How's it going, Glenn?
I picked the Astros in 6, but I'd rather. I mean, I don't have a problem with either team winning. I mean, I'd like to see the Phillies because I'm National League, but I mean, like you said, Dusty Baker getting one, and I also got tired of hearing, about the Astros being cheaters. Well, look how many times they've been to World Series. They've been a pretty dominating team in the last 6-7 years. So I mean, they're a good team, a lot of good ball players. So I don't have a problem with them winning it either. I'm going to take the Astros in 6, but this first game could set the tone. I mean, the Phillies could come out to a good start. Like you've said before, you want to get on Verlander early in the game. If they can get off to a good start and score 4 or 5 runs early in the first 3 or 4 innings, that could set the tone for the series.
Oh yeah,
it really could. So, but the Astros have been there. They've got the experience. And they win a lot of close games. So that's going to be interesting to see if Phillies can do that.
Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting. What I like best in this game is the under the 6.5. I think it's going to be probably like a 3-2 game, 2-1 game. Going to be another close game because you got 2 good pitchers on the mound. Astros have a good bullpen. The Phillies bullpen has been pitching well in the playoffs. Only thing that worries me a little bit for the Phillies is the fact that you had the time off because they were playing since the regular season. They ain't really had no days off. They've just been playing because you know what I mean. And now you got and they were hot.
Well, the Astros
now you get 4 or 5 days off, which the Astros had days off as well. But
they've been there.
Yeah,
they've been through this many a time, so it's not new to them.
But the only thing I do kind of worry about for the Astros is when Verlander has extra health. Or extra
days, pitch well.
Rest. He has struggled. Like the first game against Seattle, he gave up like 6 runs in the first couple innings. Yep. They were able to come back and win that game, but it's going to be hard to come back and win games like that in the World Series. You get down 3, 4, or 5 runs. It's hard to come back. It's going to be interesting. But like I said, my favorite my pick I like the best is the under the 6.5. You get that at even money.
Do you think Bryce Harper steps up in the series? He stepped up so far in the playoff. You think he steps up?
I think so. He's hitting over 400 for the playoffs, which is just ridiculous. I hope he keeps it up because he's always, I think, got kind of a bad rap because of everybody considered him like the best player in the league, but he's never won at one time. Then they went to Mike Trout being the best, but Harper was the face of baseball basically, but never really made it to the playoffs in Washington. Leaves Washington next year, they win the World Series. So then people was getting on him about that, like it was his fault.
See, I'm kind of old school. A lot of these guys want to pick these guys that hit a lot of home runs and as being the best player in the league. When I think about best players in the league, I think guys like Pete Rose or Joe Morgan or a guy from Houston or Tuve. I mean, it can do a little bit of.
Or even like a Johnny Bench.
People that could do it all. I mean, back then, they could bunt, they could sacrifice, they could run. Running's just been taken away from the game.
Yeah. And like my favorite players have never been the big home run hitters. Like Barry Larkin's one of my favorite players of all time.
Yep.
He was a good hitter, but he was one of the best defensive shortstops to play.
Yep.
Same thing with I know he don't get talked about much, but Ozzie Smith. He was one of the defensive wise. He might be the best best shortstop to play. That dude was great at shortstop.
Talk about the best players in the league. Well, I guess it's easy to offense and home runs is fun, I guess. But
well, that's what the games went to. It's all home runs and strikeouts anymore.
Yes.
There's hardly no. Oh no, they took a lot of strategy out of the game. There ain't hardly no bunting no more. You don't see. You see some stolen bases now, but not like you used to.
Not like you used to.
You don't see the hit and run hardly anymore.
It was so much fun back in the day, and I'm old, but it was so much fun.
You like I say, you don't see the hit and run. There's a lot of things.
You don't see the sacrifices.
Yep.
You don't see the bunts. You don't.
And now they're getting ready to do away with the shift. They're going to make it work. You can still shift a little bit, but you have to have two infielders on each side of second base, so you can only move them over to about right there by second. They're not going to let you have three or four guys on one side of the field no more. In a way, I agree with it, but in a way, I also don't. My thing is, you're professional hitters. Hit the ball where they're hit the ball on the other side of the field.
You should be able to line up wherever they want to line up, and then if you should take advantage of it.
But it goes back to the thing. It's just like NFL. They're making everything favor the offense, and that's what they're starting to do in baseball too. They're starting to they want more runs scored, so they think that the shift is preventing that because some base hits or some hits that normally would be a base hit do get out. But if there's nobody on the left side of the field, all you gotta do is just tap a little ground ball to that side of the field, and you're on base. I mean, these guys are supposed to be the best players in the world.
Yes, I agree.
And then the NBA tonight, we got I think 5 or 6 games. Like I said, we'll give out our picks for the World Series game, or we'll give out all of our picks toward the end of the show. But what I'm favoring is the under the 6.5 in that World Series game. In the NBA tonight, if you're just joining us, picks yesterday were 4-2. I was 3-0 in the NBA. Had the NFL game right, but I lost 2 college football games last night. You said you went 2-1 on your hockey parlay.
Yeah, I didn't do any good.
The night before his hockey parlay hit. You got the Hawks and Pistons tonight. Hawks were 6-point favorites, minus 240 on the money line. Pistons are plus 195 on the money line. Over-unders at 229. I favor the Hawks in this game at the -6. Pistons are better. I think they're going to be better than they were last year, but they're a young team. Glenn says Pacers and Wizards at 7:30. Yeah, I'll be watching a little bit of it. I'll probably flip back and forth a little bit between it and the World Series. Pacers are capable of beating the Wizards. They almost had them beaten the first game of the season, but Pacers had to play some defense.
Yep.
Then you have the Hornets at the Magic. Hornets are 1.5-point favorites, minus 126 on the money line. Orlando's a plus 108 home dog. Over-unders at 221. I like Charlotte in this game. Orlando, they got Banchero, who the rookie who looks tough. He's playing his ass off. He looks like the real deal. Him and the Pacers rookie right now are probably the 2 favorites for rookie of the year in the NBA. But I just don't think they have enough offense to keep up with Charlotte. So I like the Hornets here. I'd take them at the -1.5 or on the money line. Cleveland at the Celtics. Celtics are 6.5-point favorites, minus 255 on the money line. The Cavs are plus 210 on the money line. Over-under for this game is at 218.5. In this game, this is probably one of the games of the night that might be a little more interesting because the Cavs have made a big trade in the offseason, brought in Donovan Mitchell. A lot of people are expecting the Cavs to be a contender this year. We'll see if that pans out. Celtics have looked pretty good so far. I like the Celtics in this game, but I don't know if I'd give up 6.5 points against a Cavs team that's a pretty good team. Over the 2, or actually under the 218.5 to me it is a good play because Celtics play good defense and the Cavs defense isn't terrible. So I could see this game being a little bit more low. Not saying low scoring, but I think it could be just closer to the low 100s, not up in the 120s. Then Pacers and Wizards, as Glennon brought up. Wizards are 5-point favorites at home, minus 210 on the money line. Pacers are plus 176 road underdogs. Over-unders at 229. I like the over in this game because most of the Pacer games have been going 125 to 130 on both sides. So I like the over. I do think the Pacers have a good chance of winning this game. They played first game of the season. These two teams did, and the Pacers ended up losing by like 5 or 6 points. But had chances to be in the lead of that game. So, but I like the over the 229 because, like I said, neither one of these teams play a whole lot of defense, and they both can score points. Scoring points hasn't been the Pacers' problem at all.
No.
Them dudes can score, but defense hasn't been very good.
No, it hasn't.
76ers at the Raptors. 76ers have not got off to a great start to the season. The Raptors are 2-point favorites, minus 134 on the money line. Sixers are plus 114 on the money line. Over under is at 212.5. The Sixers have, I'm pretty sure that they have only won one game, and that's against the Pacers, unless they played last night and won. But I'm not sure. I don't think they played last night. The only game they had going, I know the only game going into yesterday that they had won was against the Pacers. Under the 212.5 might be a good play because both these teams can play decent defense, and the Raptors just don't have whole lot of. They don't have that big star, that big scorer on their team, but they play good they play good team ball. They got some talented guys. Don't get me wrong; they just don't have that guy you consider like a star. I like the Raptors actually. The Sixers just have underperformed. I mean, Embiid's played pretty well, but I think they should have moved on from Doc Rivers last year. I think some of the things Doc Rivers has done with throwing some players under the bus and stuff. I just don't think he's the right fit there in Philadelphia. I think it'd been better for them to move on and go in a different direction. And who knows, they might still do that throughout the season if they don't get going. Knicks and Bucks. This could be a decent game. The Knicks have been kind of a surprise team. They've came out playing pretty good out of the gates. Julius Randle is starting to play like he's looking like the player he did 2 years ago instead of last year when he couldn't do anything. Look, last year he really struggled. I don't know if the pressure got to him or what, but he's looking more like the guy from a couple years ago when he was starting to become a star. I don't think they're going to have enough against the Bucks, but Bucks are 6-point favorites, minus 240 on the money line. The Knicks are plus 198 on the money line. Over unders at 223. I just don't think the Knicks are going to have anything to stop Giannis. Giannis has been on fire. So is Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic had another 40-point game last night in a win. Lakers at the Timberwolves. Lakers still looking for for their first win of the season. Timberwolves are 6.5-point favorites, minus 255 on the money line. Lakers are plus 210 on the money line. Over unders at 230. I did see where Russell Westbrook's coming off the bench tonight. We'll see if this experiment works. I don't think it's going to work because he was saying that's how he hurt his hamstring, was because he was blaming his hamstring injury on Darvin Ham for bringing him off the bench, and he wasn't used to that. That's why he hurt his hamstring. So if he's already complaining about that I don't think it's going to work.
But you know what? With his skills diminished some, but him coming in on the how do you put it? The number 2 team, second group, being the main focus of that, might be a good move.
Oh, I think it would be a good move
if he would buy in.
Because to me, it's not as much as his skills have diminished. It's more that he's just a bad fit with LeBron. Yeah. Westbrook's a guy that he's not good off the ball. He's a guy that has the ball, needs to have the ball in his hand to be productive. And that's why I think being the main guy on that second team, he could really thrive if he'd buy into it.
Yeah.
But the problem is, we've seen a lot of players that won't buy into coming off the bench. Look how long it took Carmelo Anthony to finally buy into coming off the bench. And once he bought into it, he played real well off the bench. Well, yeah. But it took forever to get him to buy in. John Wall sat out last year, part of the season with the Rockets, because he didn't want to come off the bench. I mean, some players they get their ego. Their ego won't let them to. They just with their ego, they won't take that. Hey, this might be the best thing for me, especially. I think it's the best thing for Westbrook, especially at this point in his career. And if you go off the bench and you buy into it and you do good, it could open up opportunity for you maybe on another team next year because you're going to be done in LA.
Yeah.
So to me, you're kind of auditioning for other teams as well. So I mean, if he's smart, I think you buy in, swallow your ego a little bit.
Well, that's why.
And you might, and if you play well, you might get a chance to start on a different team next year.
See, that's why I think everybody talked about the trade to the Pacers was such a bad deal in the Pacers' point of view because he's not a leader.
Yeah.
If you're going to bring somebody in with these young players, you need somebody that's a leader, and he's not a leader. Now, if he was a leader, I'd be all for it, but he's not.
Yeah, no, I don't want him at the Pacers at all. I'm afraid that's what's going to end up happening, but I don't want that to happen. To me, it don't make no sense for the Pacers. Not with the young core you have right now, with Halliburton and Mathurin, Hield, and even Duarte, your other guy.
Even if they want to trade Turner and Hield or some kind of package, I think you can get a better fit.
Yeah.
I'm not putting Westbrook down. I just don't think he's a good fit with the Pacers. If you already had somebody there that was a great leader and you're going to bring Westbrook there to be your scorer and whatever, that would be one thing. But that's not how that is. We don't have that may be one thing we're still struggling with. Who's the leader of the Pacers?
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be Turner.
I think it's going to be Halliburton myself. That's what I think.
At this point, who do you think they think it's Turner at this point?
Well, probably because he's the one that's been there.
Yeah, I agree with you about Halliburton.
Him and that Mathurin, man, they're playing well together. I think them are the two guys that we need to build around.
Yep, I agree.
Bulls and Spurs. Bulls are 5-point favorites, minus 215 on the money line. The Spurs are plus 180 on the money line. I like the Bulls here. The Bulls have been playing pretty well. They're healthy. They got most of the players other than Lonzo Ball, who's still out with that from having knee surgery. He's not healing right. He had to have something else done to it, so he's going to be out for a little while. But Bulls have been playing well. I like the Bulls at the -5 in that game. Jazz and the Nuggets. Nuggets are 8-point favorites. I like the Nuggets in this game, but I think 8 points is a little too many. I don't like giving up more than 5 or 6 points in an NBA because even if they're up by 10 or 11 going into the last couple minutes of game, that a lot of times sometimes they'll take out players, and so I don't like it's just especially in the regular season. But I favor the Nuggets there. Then last NBA game tonight, you got the Houston Rockets at the Portland Trailblazers. Portland are 4-point favorites, minus 172 on the money line. Houston's plus 144. Over under is 222.5. I like Portland here. They have a healthy Damian Lillard. I like some of the moves that they have made. The Rockets are kind of like the Pacers. They're a really young team that's in rebuild mode. They got Jabari Smith in the draft who's been playing well. They have some young talent there, but they're still trying to learn how to play together, kind of, and put it all together like the Pacers are. So that's all the NBA games for tonight. We'll give out our picks for the NBA here in just a few minutes. Let's see. Here we go ahead and go to college football. College football, you have a couple games tonight. One game tonight that you have BYU versus ECU. BYU's a 3.5-point favorite, minus 164 on the money line. I like BYU in this game. They're at home. BYU has a pretty good team. And then for tomorrow in college football, you have a big slate of games. We're not going to go through all the games. We'll go through some of the games I like. Let's see, in college football, you got Syracuse at Notre Dame, or Notre Dame at Syracuse. I like Syracuse in that game. Syracuse should have beat Clemson last week.
They should have.
And end up blowing that game. But I look for them to come out and play hard again. Notre Dame team they struggle offensively. They're not the same Notre Dame team that you've seen in the last
Yep.
few years. So I like Syracuse in that game, and that's actually went to -1.5, so that's even better. Also, like, why didn't it give me? There we go. Let me get where it pulls up the rest of the damn games. There we go. Also, like Ole Miss. And of course, I can't remember who they're playing now. Let me find it real quick. I don't know why. You have Kentucky. Oh, Ole Miss is playing Texas A&M. I like Ole Miss in that game at -1.5, or on the money line, either one. And then the other game I like is North Carolina. And North Carolina is they're ranked 21st in the country, and they're playing Pittsburgh this weekend, and they are they are 3-point favorites in that game. Remember the 3 college football games I kind of got my eye on for this weekend.
I've got a college parlay, and I differ with you a little bit. But one reason is just taking a chance, trying to win some money. On the parlay that I got in the college, I've got Notre Dame win money line at Syracuse. I've got Georgia State and Boise State under the 43, and then I have Old Dominion at Georgia State. Old Dominion winning on the money line. That's a $10 bet. That's worth a plus 952. It's worth $105.20.
And there's some there's some decent games because you have Kentucky and Tennessee. I think Tennessee's going to be too much for them, but both them teams are ranked in the top 20.
That could be a good game.
Ohio State and Penn State. I think Ohio State's offense is going to be too much for Penn State, but it's a conference game.
One thing Tennessee's got to watch out for is not overlooking Kentucky, because you got
Georgia coming up next week.
Yes, they got to be careful with that.
And Ohio State and Penn State. You think Penn State's going to have a chance, any kind of chance slowing that offense down? I don't either.
Now, that's one thing about the Notre Dame-Syracuse game, because Syracuse have a letdown after kind of losing that game to Clemson.
See, it could be that, or it could go the other way and then play real well. But yeah, I kind of thought that before I picked Syracuse. Like, man, they did kind of blow that game.
That's the only reason. Main reason I went with Notre Dame. I think it could be a close game, and I said, hey, what the heck? This is the type of game Notre Dame needs to win to get back on track. And when sometimes when you bet on these parlays, you want to try to get a value. So I thought it was a value pick.
Georgia's at Florida. I don't see Florida being able to.
I don't think so.
Stay with them, but I'm not giving up 23.5 points either. Oklahoma State and Kansas State. I think that can end up being an interesting game. That's 9 versus 22. So, like I said, there's some decent games tomorrow in college football. There's a lot of sports on this weekend because you have a UFC tomorrow night. Main card for it starts at 7. You have the Anderson Silva and Jake Paul fight, if that's or whatever you want to call it, tomorrow night. Now there was some boxing on as well.
Yeah, I forget who it was. Pretty good fight. Ortiz and Lomachenko are fighting. That should be a good fight.
So plus we'll have a game 2 of the World Series tomorrow. So there's
college football.
All right, NFL. We went through a lot of the games earlier in the week, but games I like in the NFL. I like the Falcons. They're playing. Oh man, I should have wrote down who they were playing. They're playing the Panthers at home. I like the Falcons at the -4. They're 4-point favorites, -210 on the money line.
Let me ask you something on that. Now, Atlanta played terrible with Cincinnati, and Carolina, had a great game against Tampa Bay. Do you think Carolina could build off that, or?
I don't know. It's hard telling because Carolina has been a team that they've done the opposite of what I thought they were going to do all year.
Well, Atlanta's done that. I mean, because Atlanta goes kill San Francisco, and then they go get destroyed by the Bengals.
And the Carolina destroyed Tampa, but I don't think Tampa ain't looked like a real good team either.
No.
I mean, it's possible, but I just feel like I think the Falcons are going to play good
I think
again.
I think Atlanta's a better team.
Yeah.
But
There's so much parity in the NFL this year. It's actually harder to pick games, I think, this
it's
year than
pretty
what it
hard.
has been because, I mean, and Carolina, we have an interim coach. Yeah, I think they're still going to start Walker again, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So you got basically a third string quarterback, but hey, they done enough to win last week, and won pretty convincingly without Christian McCaffrey. I just think they've gotten rid of so many weapons. To me, but the Falcons are one of them teams that they're streaky as well, so it'll be interesting. I like the Titans, the Tennessee Titans, as well this week. They're playing the Houston Texans. They're 2.5-point favorites. Titans have been playing pretty good ball. Of course, they beat the Colts last week. I think they've won 4 in a row now. The Texans aren't a great team, but they play hard and they play a lot of close games.
That's something I was watching a couple of NFL shows yesterday, and they were talking about the Titans, and so the Titans are a team that are capable because of the running game to match up with Kansas City and Buffalo if their defense steps up.
Yep.
That is true because of the running game.
Yep.
I mean, they got the right ingredients. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying.
And then another game I like in the NFL is San Francisco 49ers over the Los Angeles Rams. No, the 49ers didn't look great last week, but they're a team that has been kind of up and down like that. And this is going to be another week with McCaffrey getting to know their system. The Rams have not looked good at all. I like that San Francisco defense. So I like the 49ers here at the -1.5.
The defense has been a little a little inconsistent this year. They got to get more got to get more consistent. But the key for San Francisco is to play with the lead. They're not a team that can play from behind. They don't want to get more than 7 points behind or they're in trouble because they have to get away from their game plan.
They're showing Halliburton's numbers. He's averaging 22.6 points per game and 10 assists a game. He's third in the NBA on assists, and he's shooting 41% from 3-point range.
Yeah, they did about a 5-minute package on him. Now they're interviewing him live on ESPN. So I think that's cool for the Pacers. Get a little, and Halliburton get some, a little credit and out there a little bit.
I think Halliburton is going to be a real good player. That's who everybody wants for next year is that Wembanyama. They say he's the best prospect that we might have ever seen. Even LeBron calls him an alien. LeBron,
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, dude's been killing it. It'd be whoever gets that first pick of the draft. That's who.
Where does he play?
He plays in the G League.
Okay.
For I think it's Ignite.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll get to our picks for today. And in the World Series for the tonight's World Series game, my pick is going to be the under under the 6.5 is what I'm going to go with on the World Series. For the NBA, I like the Bulls -4.5 and the Portland Trailblazers -4. College football, I'm going with Syracuse -1.5, Ole Miss -1.5, and North Carolina -3. And then for tonight in college football, I got BYU -3.5. The other college football games are on Saturday. And in the NFL, I got the Falcons -4, Vikings -3.5, the Titans -2.5, and the 49ers -1.5. That'd be my NFL picks for Sunday. Then I also put together underdog money line parlay for the NFL, and that would be the Lions on the money line, the Jets on the money line, and the Giants on the money line. Giants play the Seahawks. The Jets play the Patriots, and the Lions play the Dolphins. The Lions would be the one I'd worry the most about winning, but when the Lions offense gets going, man, they can score a lot of points. That's my underdog money line parlay they're all underdogs. If they hits, it'd be a pretty good payout on it.
Okay, I've got some parlays here. I'll give my college one again at the end, but my NHL one, I've got the Anaheim Ducks at the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm taking the Golden Knights and giving up the -1.5 goals. And I got the Colorado Avalanche and the New Jersey Devils. I've got the Avalanche money line, and then I got the Pittsburgh Penguins at the Vancouver Canucks. Money line win. $10 bet is worth or plus 544. It's worth 64.40. Then I got an NFL one, and I kind of went with a different one. I really had trouble seeing anything I liked, so I just went with a Giants in Seattle pick. I would take the Giants in Seattle. I took Seattle to win money line. I took the Giants in Seattle under 44.5, and then I took Barkley score anytime score. And a $10 bet is worth it's plus 750. It's worth $85. And then I'll give my college one again real quick.
Hey Jay, we appreciate you sharing the show, man. We really appreciate that. Thank you. Still can't root for Houston, man.
Yeah, the college again. I had Notre Dame at Syracuse. I had Notre Dame with money line. I got Colorado State and Boise State at under 43, and I got Old Dominion at Georgia State. I got Old Dominion winning money line. $10 bets worth 105.20 plus 952.
All right, to recap real quick before we get out, I have the Bulls -4.5 tonight, and Portland -4. World Series, I have under the 6.5 in that game. I think it's going to be a close 3-2, 2-1 game. Because I like both the pitchers are on the mound. In the NFL, I got the Falcons -4, Vikings -3.5, Titans -2.5, and the 49ers -1.5. My underdog money line parlay would be Lions money line, Jets money line, and Giants money line. And then for college football tonight, BYU -3.5. And in college football on Saturday, I have Syracuse -1.5 against Notre Dame, Ole Miss -1.5, and North Carolina -3. It says fantastic bets. Keep it up. Thank you. We appreciate everybody joining us today. Don't forget, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room and at the All Sports All Plays Network. Same thing with Facebook, and Twitch. Please like and follow. Leave a review on our Facebook page. We'd appreciate that as well. We have shows every day. Shows we have left today. See, we have Horseshoe Talk this evening at 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk about Indianapolis Colts. They benched their quarterback starting Ellinger tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, on Sunday.
Yep.
And then tonight, got Gonzo and the Judge Sports Talk at 11 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk World Series, Game 1, NBA, NFL, talk a little bit of everything tonight on Gonzo and the Judge Sports Talk. Tomorrow, I think we're going to do a live watch along for in reaction for UFC fight night and for the Anderson Silva Jake Paul fight. So we'll kind of cover both those tomorrow. I'll put out a graphic, let everybody know exactly what time for that. And then on Monday, we'll be back to our normal schedule. Around the Bases, our baseball show at 9 a.m. Eastern. You can also find me on the afternoon show, the ASAP Afternoon Blitz on the All Sports All Plays Network at 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. And, of course, Easy Money's at 3 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.
Who does the sports judge like in the series? Has he said?
I don't think he said yet.
I was wondering if he went with the Philly since he's kind of more of a National League guy.
And then if you're a pro wrestling fan, we had a couple interviews this week with pro wrestlers. We had the tag team, the Dirty Birds, on. Go check that out. You can find it on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And then we also had last night Blake Money Right on, which was another great interview. He's actually wrestling tonight in a First Blood match against Vinny Vichetti, who we had on last week. You can find both those interviews on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch.
He's wrestling a big match also. Yep. Also, Saturday night, he's taking on Chris, can you Heath Slater. I'm old.
Heath Slater used to be in WWE, signed with him. He's with Impact Wrestling right now. Yep. A lot of you guys remember him for the one-man band. in WWE.
He was in Nexus.
In Nexus. So it's a big opportunity for Blake Wright tonight or tomorrow night to get to wrestle him. So
and a big match at, like you said, tonight at WCWO.
Yeah.
Kind of has, been his home base for, a little bit. And Vinny Bichetti's been around for many, many years and a great wrestler. And so it's should be a big match. First blood match. It's the first blood match Blake has been in. So it should be interesting. Should be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Should be a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody watching. Like I said, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We greatly appreciate that. I'll recap one more time real quick. Bulls -4.5 and Portland -4. My picks in the NBA tonight. My NBA picks were 3-0 yesterday. I was 4-2 overall yesterday. Only games I lost was 2 in college football. I had the Ravens money line last night, and that hit as well. In the World Series tonight, like the under the 6.5. For the World Series, I have the Phillies winning in 6, but I don't know, man. I just have that feeling. I have the feeling with the Phillies, kind of like the feeling of the Nationals a few years ago. And then in NFL, Falcons -4, Vikings -3.5, Titans -2.5, 49ers -1.5. My underdog money line parlay, Lions money line, Jets money line, Giants money line. On tonight's college football, I do like BYU -3.5. And in college football for Saturday, I like 3 games: Syracuse -1.5, Ole Miss -1.5, and North Carolina -3. But we appreciate everybody watching, and we will see you guys on Monday with another episode of Easy Money, a sports betting show. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and stay safe.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.